Jenny is here, so I'm going to go straight to Ms. Seagrove. Jenny, so delighted.
Good morning.
Woohoo! Can we get some snaps for Miss Jenny Seagrove in the house? Can we show some love for Miss Jenny Seagrove? Thank you so much, Jenny, for being here.
That's my great pleasure.
A single word, thank you for the Main Chance Sanctuary. Amazing. I'm going to cry. No, I'm not.
No, you're not. It's Saturday morning. You can't cry. You're needing a motivation.
No, it is. When I think about what you're doing, honest to God, it's amazing. And thank you. So listen, you're here to talk about how to get motivated, but maybe more importantly, how to stay motivated in tough times. Because I think it's really easy for any one of us to look at someone like you who obviously has a degree of success in your life, in your field, in your profession. I think it's really easy for people to think, well, you're lucky. It's okay for you. Your life must be a breeze. It's come lucky to you. But I'm guessing that perhaps you have had times when it wasn't that easy and you've had to keep yourself motivated.
Absolutely. Gosh, I don't know where to start. Don't we all? My life generally, I do believe I am blessed. I do believe I am lucky. But then you go into the whole philosophical debate of, do you create your own luck? And then you have to go back into the whole karma thing of whether you believe in karma, whether you believe in your soul's journey and all of that stuff. But what I did learn very early on was a few things. Gregory Peck once said about actors, sow your seeds generously and one day it will be spring. So you get yourself out and about and you make yourself not available in the sort of awful sense, but you're out there. But first of all, you have to believe in yourself. And as a young actor, I went into acting because I wanted to be famous. And I soon learned that I loved it and I didn't actually particularly care about the fame. The only thing about fame was that you got to work with better people and on better projects. But as an actor, you get kicked all the time. You go to auditions and you think you've got the job and you're told the next week, or you're not told. They tend not to tell you if you haven't got a job. So you think an audition went really well and you never hear anything, and you ring your agent 2 weeks later and you go, they must have offered me it. It was brilliant. No, nothing. And then you hear somebody else has got it and you just have to cope. But I learned quite early on something else, and that is you just have to stay positive. A particularly bad time in my life, I won't go into the details, and I went to a therapist for 3 months who was incredibly helpful and taught me to love myself, not in the egotistical sense, but in the sense of I love myself because I do my very best every day that I can do to be a good person. And I know I have faults and I accept my faults. And every day I try and be the best version of me that I can and help people and be kind to people. But I've got a dear, dear friend who's now approaching his 90th birthday, who I've known for 35 years. And he's always said, Jenny, not if, but when. And any negativity in my attitudes or my conversations, he's gone, no, I won't accept that. Look at the positive. Always look at the positive. Always, if anything awful happens to you, there's a reason for it. And I don't believe in regrets. I look back on my life and I've had some really tough times and some times when I didn't quite know how to keep going. And I sort of managed with friends' help and by digging deep to know that this too shall pass. And also that I would look back on these awful times and go, gosh, I'm glad that happened to me because I'm a different person now. And I believe I'm a better person because when I want to say a rude word, when shit happens, you actually use it. You put it down as the manure in your life and you grow things out of it. And I do believe that the rotten things that have happened to me have made me a wiser person, a more compassionate person, a better version of who I want to be. And so I'm grateful for them. I'm really grateful. So when things do happen, I just hold on to the fact that life is like the ocean. They go up and down. So when things are good, you know they're going to stop. And when things are rough, you know it will pass. And you just have to keep on that surfboard and keep paddling. You may not be able to stand up, but you got to keep paddling. And, you know, I started Main Chance 10 years ago. And I started it because I knew somebody who'd got a huge collection of horses and loads of other animals. And she'd gone broke. She'd used up all her money and everybody else's money. She wasn't a charity. She couldn't say no. She wanted to rescue everything in sight. So she had 40 horses, a cow, some pigs, some geese, some sheep, dogs, cats, you name it, parrots. She had them. And she hadn't got any more money. And people were really pissed off with her because she kept borrowing and saying, I'll pay it back, I'll pay it back. And people would believe her because she was very plausible. But she never paid it back because she couldn't. So they felt lied to, and they got really upset, and they started to be very difficult to her. So she found it very hard to raise money. So one day she rang me up and she said, the horses haven't eaten for 4 days. What do I do? They're kicking the stable doors. Well, you can't listen to that and do nothing. So I heard myself saying, well, it's all right, we'll do it properly now. We'll start a charity. So from that moment in August 2011, I had the responsibility of all these animals. And it wasn't just to raise money to feed them. I had to find somewhere for them to live. And I had to form a charity. And I've been a patron and trustee of charities, but I've never had the sole responsibility of a charity. So I had no idea what I was doing. However, the universe sometimes conspires to help you. So I went to somebody who was very well known, and I said, who do you know that might have some land? Because they were being thrown off where they were. I had a month to find somewhere for all these animals. And when you've got that many animals, that's not that easy. And he rang his best friend, and his best friend said, yeah, I've got 2 sites, come and have a look. So I went to 2 sites in Surrey, and one of them was pretty perfect. I mean, it was a shambles, it was a mess. But he said, if you want this, you can have it rent-free until the spring. So I just went, oh, thank you. It gives me a chance to just breathe. I could get them safe. All the animals could be safe. So we brought them all over to this site in Surrey, which had nothing set up for animals. And we put in a small area of temporary fencing for the first lot because we brought them over incrementally. And I remember the first Sunday, I was in bed. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. And the phone rang, and it was my friend, the man I'd met. His name is Richard. And he said, hello, Jen, it's Richard. The neighbours have just rung me. Your horses have escaped. They're running all over Compton golf course.
Oh, my Lord.
And I was like, oh, no. How did that happen? So my immediate thought was that the people who were looking after them hadn't done the electric fencing right. Actually, it turns out, and there were only 4 of them because they were the first 4 that we brought over. It was a foggy morning, and some kids on quad bikes had gone into the field and broken through the fencing because they didn't know there were horses in there. And the horses had spooked and run all over. Actually, it was Putnam Golf Course in Compton. And I had to pay for the damage, but the golf course were jolly nice to me. They didn't charge me what they might have done. And on we went. And the kids didn't come back on their quad bikes, thank God. And so slowly, we got the place okay. And then incrementally, we set it up. And then I rehomed all of the animals that weren't horses and 20 of the horses to another sanctuary, and sat there and thought, right, what do I do now? And I always known that horses were wonderful with people if you treated the horses right. That's a very inflammatory thing to say, but an awful lot of horses in the equine world are really not looked after. People think they're looked after, but they live by themselves in stables, and there's an awful lot of dominance. But that's not what this session is about. And there were some very, very dark nights when I thought, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this. You know, I really didn't know what I was doing. But people arrived. People arrived to help. Money arrived. And when you have those dark nights and you want to walk away, you really, really do want to walk away, you have to find something that holds you there. And for me, it was the horses. How could I walk away from the horses that needed me? And I'd got to know them by now, and I'd fallen in love with them. And I desperately wanted my life back, but I knew I had to keep going. And you just take a breath and focus on what is good and what is your motivation, and you keep going. And now it's not just the horses, it's how we look after the horses, how we can share how we look after the horses with other people, and that might slop over onto their animals' lives, and the people that we help, because we bring in some elderly people from care homes, and we bring in a lot of young people from disadvantaged backgrounds and people with special needs, and we change their lives. We've got one girl who was 13 when she joined us on our very first Chance to Be pilot. Chance to Be is a mindfulness course that I've created where the horses teach the mindfulness. They don't actually talk, but they do in their own way. And it really works, because if you ask a child to sit and meditate, they'll just laugh at you. They'll leave their eyes open. They'll giggle with each other. They'll pick the bales of hay and they won't do anything. But if you say to them, if you want to be with the horses and help the horses, you have to learn how to be calm. And that requires being in the moment and breathing and coming into your senses and out of your busy brain, then they want to do it. So little by little, we give them little tools and little exercises, and you can see these children transform over the 12 weeks of the course. So this girl was an elective mute. She had a dreadful home life, lived with her mother in a hostel. They had nothing, abuse. They'd been through abuse. I think the mother drank, and the child had discovered that if she was mute at school, nobody bothered her. So she was about to be excluded. But she came on this course as a last resort, and something in her clicked. And it was to do with the horses. And she started to open up. And the school saw this and said, could we have her once a week for work experience? So of course we said yes. So over the years, she started to come and she started to open up. She re-engaged at school. We discovered she had a sense of humor. And she left school last summer during lockdown. She got English and maths functional skills. And we've taken her on a flexible contract because we didn't want her to fail. But she started, I think it was 16 or 17, maybe 20 hours of a week. She's now a full-time groom at our sanctuary, and engaging and enthusiastic and wanting to save money so she can buy herself a car so she doesn't have to rely on her nan and her mom to bring her. And she's got a life now. She's got a path. And the horses and the charity did that. And that's those kind of things. When things get tough, and trust me, they're tough at the moment. We've just lived through a pandemic, and our charity hasn't qualified for any grants because we're not at the front line. And we've had to keep going because we have 38 horses and we had to keep our staff. We couldn't get, I think we put one admin person on furlough, and we've had to keep going, and it's tough. It's very tough. And I'm not sure how we'll keep going, but I'm damned if I'm going to let it fail because it's too important now. And so then I get a phone call from the miraculous Fiona Harrold, who says, hello, I'd like to do something for Main Chance. And you see how the universe works? They brought her to me, and she said, oh, we're going to do a little fundraiser for you. And I went, oh, that's lovely, thank you. So here we all are on a Saturday morning, and we've all got the same mindset in that we want to either be positive, keep being positive, or learn how to be positive and motivated. And it's tough, but actually it's possible. And if you believe in yourself, as Fiona says, and you really want to be the very best version of who you are, you can be. And you know that you fail sometimes. And when you fail, you don't beat yourself up. You give yourself a quiet talking to, and you go, right, I won't do that again. And you learn from it. The important thing is to learn from your mistakes. So now I've nattered on quite long enough. Fiona, just let me answer any questions if anyone wants to ask anything. And then I must leave you all to do everything that you're going to do marvelously today, because I've got 2 shows to do. So I need to get ready, go to London and do a matinee and then an evening show.
Oh, Jenny, thank you so much. Honest to God, speaking on behalf of everyone, thank you for the work that you've done, and also for what you've shared today. I've heard so much, and I'm sure everybody else has. And go ahead, put any questions in the chat box. We've probably got about 3 minutes with Jenny before she has to go. Just put any questions in the chat box and we'll see them. I'll see them. But honestly, what I've heard you say today, Jenny, is if you really want to get motivated, find something that matters. Find something that really matters, that's going to get you up out of bed and that's going to get you into action and that's going to get you being the best version of you. You know, I was talking before you came on, Jenny, about if life is too comfortable, it's like there's no growth. There's no growth. There's no excitement. There's no aliveness. There's no adventure. You never get to be the person actually that you could be and that you're meant to be and that's in you to be. And here's the other thing I've heard you say, Jenny, that being surrounded or having people around you who pull you forward and who help you stay on track.
Oh, it's incredibly important. I now swerve around people with negative energies. I don't want to be anywhere near them. I can't cope with them. And if I have to cope with them because they're family members or anything like that, then I just try so hard to drip feed without lecturing, without being pompous, to be positive, to just encourage them if people have encouraged me, but to surround myself with positivity. And once you're in a positive mindset and determined to stay like that, you sort of attract other positive people to you.
Oh, 100%. And again, I think that's great for everybody to hear, that you've got to choose your influences. Your environment is hugely important, the people that you have around you. And it's not like you're being judgmental at all. It's just you're being choosy about who you're going to be in life and who is going to support you to be that person. Yeah. Awesome. Any questions, guys? I'm just looking to my glamorous assistants. Have we got any questions? I mean, I think you've been amazing and given us all so much to think about. Now, what I do want to say to everyone is we're going to put the link in the chat box to the offer today. So that offer, that 47 goes straight to main chance. Now, if you want to give more than 47, please feel free to do that. You don't have to give 47. That's the minimum. You can do 147 or 1,047, anything you like. So listen, I'm going to thank Jenny.
Sorry, there was one question.
We've got one question. Go ahead. Tell me what that is.
I have a daughter who is doing exams. How can she stay motivated?
Oh, that's great.
That's
a great one for you,
isn't
Jenny.
it?
I've got a daughter who is doing exams. How can I help her stay motivated?
Gosh. Does she love what she's doing? Where are you, Harvey?
Great question. Great question. Just go ahead. Just go ahead and just say whatever's there for you, Jenny.
It's how can you keep someone motivated? I suppose you have to make her excited about her dream. Now, the problem is certainly with my nieces, when I'd say to them, what's the plan? What's the dream? None of them had dreams. I don't know what I really enjoy doing. And somehow perhaps take them on adventures in terms of things outside of work, which sounds silly if she's actually doing exams, to just get her interested in other things and to give her that energy and to give her the motivation to find out what she loves and start dreaming in her life and learning to really apply herself. Because if you work hard, you will succeed. And if she wants to succeed in whatever field it is, and I'm not talking about money. I mean, for me, success is about being a good person, but it's lovely to have success in your field. Of course it is. And we all want to do well. But I suppose you've got to get her dreaming and just really encourage her that this is a small time of pain. But if she does well in this, oh my goodness, what will the future perhaps hold for her? I mean, I feel I'm not the best person to answer this. I think that Fiona is probably the expert on this sort of thing, but it is about not just the exams, it's about the bigger picture, I think.
I love that. I couldn't agree with you more, honest to God. I think it's about, I think being motivated is easy when you're excited about what you're doing. You have energy, you get up early in the morning, you throw yourself into it. It doesn't feel like work, doesn't feel like drudgery. So I think really feeling engaged and enthusiastic about what you're doing is key. And if it is exams, which may not be a lot of fun, then it's, as you say, Jenny, it's the bigger picture. It's like the why you're doing it, where it's leading to, and having some balance and time out as well. So it's not so painful. I think it's perfect. Jenny, if you need to go. I know you've got to get in the car and get to London. And we'll do this all over again, I'm sure.
That would be
This
lovely.
a lovely
And
time.
Alison, Harry Edwards, I did get an email from you and I did reply. I don't know if you got the email. We'll find a way of working together. I have no idea how, but there must be a way. So let's find it.
That would be fantastic.
All right. Hi there. And
I'll get
listen,
you guys connected.
all of you guys, thank you for a start for coming today. And thank you for just being there and spending time and wanting to be part of everything. Any tips of meditating? She has to stay up 24 hours long for online exams. Really? 24 hours? Gosh. Tips for meditating is always go back to your breathing. Always go back to your breathing and try and feel your body from the inside. Anything you can do to get your senses to take over from your body, because if you can hear, smell, see, feel, and all of the senses, you will not be able to think at the same time if you're truly engaged. And also be kind to yourself, because everybody finds it hard to meditate. So start with 3 seconds. Your mind will wander, come back, do another 3 seconds, and suddenly it'll be 5 minutes, and then it might be 10 minutes, and then you'll have a day when you can only do 3 minutes. Don't be hard on yourself, just keep going. It's like a mental gym. It's like learning a new language, meditating. You have to really, really apply yourself to it and practice and teach your brain that actually it's not going to run riot and that you're going to control it and that you're going to have these time out periods where you can just have stillness and be in the present moment. And it's worth persevering. It can be very frustrating. And some people give up, but try not to. Keep motivated. You know, I'm so interested in motivation, Fiona, and all of these things. It's very hard to leave the session, but I probably do have to. So thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to duck out and wish you all good luck and have a splendid time with...
Can we give some snaps for Jenny? Thank you, Jenny. Have a brilliant day.
Thank you so much. You too. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.